Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. A very important Kentucky Derby prep race at Keeneland on Saturday. It is the Grade 2 Toyota Bluegrass. $1 million is the purse. They're going 1 1/8 miles. Our coverage is presented by DRF Bets. Sign up for a new DRF Bets account. You can bet that nice Bluegrass card with a $150 bonus. DRF.com/join. Promo code TV150. Let's take a look at this field of Kentucky Derby hopefuls. Matt, the weather sounding frightful.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. It sounds like it could be running a bit of a blizzard down there in Lexington on Saturday. And I got to be honest, that's going to be one of those things. If the weather does develop and it does turn into a bit of a snow globe in April, I don't know what it does as far as analyzing this race as a whole going forward, no matter who the winners or losers are, because hopefully, fingers crossed, they're never going to have to run in a snow globe ever again.
We've got Breeders' Cup Juvenile and 2-year-old champion Good Magic looking to get back on the beam following a third-place finish as the odds-on favorite in the Grade 2 Fountain of Youth. Even though it was the subpar Good Magic, he finished ahead of 3 of these common foes. What was your take on the Fountain of Youth as a whole and of Good Magic's performance?
Well, coming into last weekend's Florida Derby, I didn't love the Fountain of Youth. I didn't really love any of the South Florida form leading into the Florida Derby. I think coming out of the Florida Derby, it's difficult really to make a decision on what you think of the Fountain of Youth as a whole, because the top 2 finishers, Promises Fulfilled and Strike Power, they basically just dueled each other into the ground in the Florida Derby. So the buyers there, I don't think those are truly indicative of their ability. And the only other horse to come back and run out of that race was the 7th place finisher, Storm Runner, and he didn't run well. So I suppose maybe he's just the only one to make the call on right now. As far as Good Magic is concerned, I thought he had every opportunity on a day that, if you believe the Timeform US color coding system, they had it as a slightly speed-friendly racetrack. I know he came from 2 lengths off of it, but he had every opportunity, and I thought he was just flat. If you want to take the positive and say it was nothing more than a means to an end, a starting off point, that's fine. I hoped to see a little bit more than what we saw.
Like you, I have mixed feelings about that race. Yes, they ran 1, 2, 3 around the track, and it did seem hard to make up ground at Gulfstream that day, but it looked like he ran in spots. Entering the turn, it looked like he was going to win for fun. I didn't like the way he took the turn at all, and then he finished with a little bit of interest the final 1/8 of a mile. He draws post 11 here with some tactical speed. I want to see where our friends at Timeform US have him from a pace standpoint. We'll toss up the pace projector, and they have Good Magic in mid-pack, sitting in 5th position. He's very comfortable in that spot. Does this outside post hurt him? The possibility of a fast pace shouldn't. He's versatile enough.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's one of those things where there's not a ton of, I don't think, confirmed true burners in this race. So maybe it'll be a matter of, let's see where certain horses go, and let's see if they decide to just run and gun to try to clear off to the front. I think the good thing about Good Magic is he's shown that he has that versatility where, you know what, if things go a little bit quick, he can sit 2 or 3 lengths off of it and not have a problem. And if it doesn't develop the way that it looks like it will on paper, go back to that career debut where I understand he didn't quite get there and has it ended up wiring him. But if you remember, that was basically a merry-go-round race, but he was closer to the pace. I think he's versatile enough that that shouldn't be the matter of does he win or lose. I think it's a matter of is he good enough.
Second choice on the morning line is the number 10, Free Drop Billy, returning to the scene of his greatest triumph, the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity, right here at Keeneland last fall. Now, he is winless in 3 starts since then. I thought he ran okay in the Holy Bull 2 starts back against eventual Florida Derby winner Audible. I'm not sure what I thought about the Gotham last time out. Wasn't sure about the spot, why Dale was cutting him back to a 1-turn mile, and he only kind of clunked along to finish 3rd. He's got to improve off that race. I think he has it in him to win a race like this. 5-1 to me sounds light, but I think maybe he gets bumped up a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the betting goes for this race. I thought the Holy Bull was a good race. I think if he runs that, he has a big chance to win here. The Gotham, I guess maybe I'm being a little bit naive at this point, and I'm just going to say I'm drawing a line through it because I don't think he wants to go a 1-turn mile anyway. I think pedigree-wise and the way that he runs, I think he's a 2-turn horse. And I wonder, maybe, again, I'm trying to be positive for this horse. Maybe Dale didn't want him peaking too early. Let's kind of throttle back, run him in a race that he probably doesn't really fit in a race like the Gotham, and now let's get him cranked cranked up and ready to go. I think he has a chance in here.
We've got several horses coming out of the Tampa Bay Derby, including the winner Quip, who made his first start off of the year, first start off of a long layoff. And I think a lot of folks are going to say that Quip took advantage of a slow pace and a horse that had stamina issues on the lead in order to win. I kind of like the way Quip finished off that race. I like his tactical speed. I think he can sit third or fourth in here. From a pedigree standpoint, I'm not that concerned about the 1.125 miles. He's 6-1 on the morning line, and if you believe that last Beyer speed figure, he is squarely in the hunt.
Yeah, highest last out Beyer in the field with a 94. He's got one of the highest time form U.S. ratings in the field. I agree with you. I thought the Tampa Bay Derby was very, very strong. And Formulator, after my note for the trip, I wrote, I'm not sure where it came from, but I thought it was really good. I thought he was very impressive. It was a huge gallop out. I tell you what, if this horse is what he showed in the Tampa Bay Derby, not only is he a contender here for this race, the Bluegrass, he would be a contender the first Saturday in May in the Kentucky Derby.
Tampa Bay Derby runner-up Flame Away, the number 12, a Keeneland grad, 6-1. Jose Lezcano has the mount. Some might argue he was compromised by that pace up front where he was chasing the two early leaders through a half mile in 49-2. Then he was outpaced a bit on the turn when they started running. He tried hard, and that's what he is. He's a hard trier who's going to give you his all each and every time. He's versatile. He's won at 4.5 furlongs. He's won at 1.16 miles. He's won on dirt, synth, and turf, and perhaps most importantly, he has won on a wet Keeneland surface. It's a tough outside post, but he has peaked in his last two races.
Yeah, this horse is very good. I still feel like he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I wonder about distance as we continue on. Is he going to appreciate 1.125 miles and 1.25 miles, or is he more that middle distance, 1.16 miles, flat miler type? He got bumped pretty hard out of the gate in that Tampa Bay Derby too, and he still overcame that, came with a run. I wonder if just on that day, though, did he get beat by a better horse? Is Quip more suited for this sort of race, 1.16 miles, 1.1 miles? We'll find out. I think Flame Away is good, and I certainly wouldn't throw him out.
Kanthaka, the number 4, burst onto the national scene with an eye-catching win in the Grade 2 San Vicente Stakes at 7 furlongs. It must be noted, however, that he received an electric pace to rally into, and the pace setters were basically falling down at the 3/16 pole. I did love the way Kanthaka finished that race, and I gave him an upset chance in the Grade 2 San Felipe last time out, and entering the turn, he made a similar run in the San Felipe as he did in the San Vicente. The problem was he then turned into the stretch. He still had to catch both Dioro and McKenzie at a longer distance. This is a better spot from a class perspective, I believe, even with good magic in the race. The 1.125 miles is the question.
Yeah, it certainly is. He also had a pretty bad stumble out of the gate in that San Felipe, and the fact that he overcame that, I actually think it was a pretty good run. But you alluded to, I keep looking at this pedigree, and whenever I see Jimmy Creed, and I just, distance, man, I don't think distance is going to be his friend. It's also something to keep an eye on. You're right, no match for McKenzie and Bolt Doro. Nobody's going to hold that against him. Much better as far as class is concerned here. He was a half length ahead of Peace. Peace came back to earn a 72 at Sunland Park, and we kind of know Peace. Peace is middle of the road at best. I feel like he's going to be the wise guy horse that a lot of people gravitate toward, and I'm just going to take a stand against him here on Saturday.
I think the 2 Sporting Chance is coming up to this race the right way. Whether he is good enough to win might be a different story, but he's a horse that I certainly want to use in multiple race wagers. He was classy enough to win the Hopeful on a wet racetrack as a 2-year-old. He was injured, unfortunately, after that race. The Southwest, he came back off a long layoff. I think he might have been a short horse that day, a day where there was a golden rail and he was taken off of the rail at a key point turning into the stretch. Last time out in the Rebel, he was very wide around both turns and he was still punching on. I think Wayne Lukas has the Kentucky Derby in mind, maybe 3rd start back in the Bluegrass. This horse could be forward, and if the 3 California Knight doesn't go to the lead, I think Luis Saez should get aggressive with Sporting Chance and send him.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. This horse has, I don't want to say won me over, but he's at least made me believe that I didn't know what to think of him as a 2-year-old. I think the talent is true. I think that's what he is. I guess there is a part of me that's wondering when I see, you're right about the situation in the Southwest where he ended up on the worst part of the track, but he gave up ground late. I know he was wide in the Rebel. I'm wondering if he's going to be better going a little bit shorter. Maybe he ends up being a Pat Day mile type, but I think talent-wise, he's every bit as good as anybody else in this field.
Zing Zhang, the number one, might want to go a little bit longer. He is a true one-run closer. If you believe the pace projector, he is going to get the right setup. The problem is, ever since he's won his maiden, he's come with an okay late run in the Lecomte, the Southwest, the Rebel. Just not good enough to threaten the top horses. Is at this point a simply situation where Zing Zhang is not graded stakes quality?
Yeah, I think that's probably where we're trending. I think this horse is good. I think eventually he'll be something. The problem is on dirt, when you are so far behind everyone else, and he had a little bit of trouble going into the first turn in that Rebel, but when you spot the field 15 lengths, you need an absolute meltdown to come with a run, and he hasn't gotten that in each of the past two starts. And as fast as it may be on Saturday, I don't think he's going to get that here.
Tough spot for California Knight, one of the horses the Timeform US has on the lead with the red bar fast-paced scenario. First time 2 turns, last time out in New York, only beat 4 rivals.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I mean, he possibly is a threat to steal this thing, but at the same time, class-wise, big jump up, distance-wise, big jump up.
Marconi, the number 6, a $2 million son of Tapit, a half to Breeders' Cup Classic winner Mucho Macho Man, I believe. He attracts Ryan Moore for this mount. This is his 3rd start of the form cycle. 1 1/8, I think, is what he wants. He ran a good 3rd, I thought, in the Withers behind the promising Avery Island in his first start of the year, and last time out in the Fountain of Youth. You can make the argument that on that track he had no chance.
Yeah, he was just too far back. He was very wide as well. I kind of look at this horse and wonder, I don't know that he can win this race here. I find it fascinating that Ryan Moore is here, but I think a lot of that has to do with the ownership group, considering they're probably going to have a Kentucky Derby entrant down the road. Marconi, I wonder if he's going to be a Belmont horse. I wonder if he just still needs to figure things out. It looks like he wants to run all day. I just don't think Saturday's his day.
But he does have a win at the 1 1/8 along with Blended Citizen, who looked good winning the Jeff Ruby Stakes last time out at Turfway Park. I mean, he got a really nice ride to win that race. First time blinkers in a race where the pace kind of fell apart at the very end. Dirt is the big question mark. We know this horse is okay on synth, okay on turf. Boy, I don't know if he's going to like dirt or wet dirt getting kicked in his face.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just those first 3 lifetime starts did nothing to make me believe that he's ever going to be a dirt horse. I think he's going to be okay on synth and turf down the road. He's
now in the same barn as Arawak, who took the worst of it from a post position draw. We saw O'Neill add blinkers to Blended Citizen. It worked well in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. He tries that angle here with Arawak, who just seems a little bit slow. He has won on dirt, but it was going 5 furlongs in the mud in his career debut.
I just have to be honest with you. I've never really liked this horse. He takes money, it seems like, each and every start, and I don't think he's necessarily gotten any better at any point.
Formulator fact for a price, the 8 Gotta Go for Ian Wilkes. Over the past couple of years, with 3-year-old dirt routers making the 3rd start off the layoff, Wilkes wins at a 30% clip. I like this horse at shorter distances. I thought his effort in the Swale behind Strike Power was a promising seasonal debut. If you want to make the argument that, like Marconi, he was up against it, the way the race profile and the race track played at Gulfstream on Fountain of Youth Day, fine. I think 1 1/8's a little far.
I was going to say, get him back to a shorter distance. I like him a lot, whether it's a 1-turn mile or 7/8. I don't like him here.
Tis Mischief, second in the Grade 2 Kentucky Jockey Club, has not taken a step forward, maybe compromised by the lack of pace in the Tampa Bay Derby, but now he's got a lot to prove.
He certainly does, but you know what? There's no better time than now to show that you actually belong. He's won at Keeneland before. If you think there's going to be pace for him to run at, I would certainly consider using him underneath at the very least.
So much to talk about in the Toyota Bluegrass, but it's pick time finally, and I'm interested to see where you're going because you're going with a price. And as we take a look at our top picks, you're going with the 13 Machismo, who was so impressive, winning his maiden at Gulfstream, sprinting 2 starts back. He just couldn't get close to the lead in the Fountain of Youth. Do you think this jock's going to be really aggressive with him, or do you think they're going to try to sit again?
Well, first things first, I hope he runs on Saturday because it sounds like there's a possibility that they may bypass this and run in the Arkansas Derby next week. I'm assuming they're going to run here. The way that the Fountain of Youth played out, he was wide on that first turn mid-pack, and he got a little bit of a shuffle down the backside back to almost last, essentially. At one point, he was even behind Marconi by about a half length. And on that racetrack at Gulfstream that day, he was the only horse that was making up any significant ground. Marconi just kind of clunked along. This horse actually had the fastest final 5/16 in the entire race. He came home in 31-2 over a racetrack that, again, Timeform US has color-coded as slightly speed favoring. I just feel like if I'm taking anyone out of that race, and who knows, maybe the Fountain of Youth is as bad as I thought it was prior to the Florida Derby, but I don't want to go there just yet. If I'm taking anyone out of that race, it's going to be Machismo. He's going to be a big price as long as Ron Palucci doesn't bet $1 million on his horse to drop him down to 10-1. I think this horse has a puncher's chance in here if they choose to run here.
If they don't choose to run, do you have your opinion yet, or will you wait for out of the gate?
No, I'll tell you right now, if he doesn't run here, I'm going to go back to Free Drop Billy. I kind of feel like the home cooking. I wonder, again, maybe I'm trying to cook up something in my own head, but the Gotham, I almost wonder if it was let's not get him peaked too soon. Let's run him in a race that he probably doesn't belong in, get him back here, he can run here, and then have him ready to go for Louisville.
Quip got a nice setup last time out, but it was his first start off the layoff. I like the way he galloped out after the race. I like his tactical speed. I think he'll be in mid-pack and in a very good position when the field turns into the stretch. Sporting Chance is kind of a longer shot pick in here if he stays at that 10-1, but I'll go 5, 4, 11, and 12, and we'll see if Good Magic makes us pay in the Grade 2 Bluegrass. Again, if you're playing from home, please consider DRF Bets. $150 bonus is yours when you go to drf.com/join and sign up. Promo code TV150. Approximate post time for the Bluegrass, 6:23 Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.